Hey guys, it's me, Pokemon. I'm back. Today I want to talk to you guys about the new update that's come out from Marvel Strike Force, or at least this dev update. I want to break down everything in this, and I did want to talk a little bit about the new team because I had some thoughts about it. So we're going to wait to talk about Squirrel till the end because that's probably the most interesting thing, and I'm going to talk about that for the longest. Real quick, I want to talk about everything else that's coming here. Symbiote Spider-Man's going to be coming back in Milestones, which is great. Symbiote Spider-Man's an excellent character. I hope you're able to recruit him or star him up or get as many shards as you can for him because he is really, really strong. I also like this energy overload, really good. I like getting more energy. That's gonna be a fun event. The blitzes, Ronin, I don't really care, but you know, if you don't have Ronin, he's a nice character to get. But Graviton, gonna be kind of awesome. Graviton is an excellent character to get, and he is hard to farm. And then bonus events, they're gearing up for the Wonder Woman Legendary event. I'm actually gonna unlock Invisible Woman, so this is gonna be exciting for me. I'll be excited for the Invisible Woman event, and that should give me a couple more Mega Orbs towards this big Chimichanga milestone going on right now. But let's talk about Squirrel now. So Squirrel is going to be leading a new team of Young Avengers. So what they're doing is they're taking the Brawler team and they're being like, no more Brawlers. You're no longer a Brawler team. Forget the Brawler team. They're taking Kamala Khan and American Chavez, and they're like, you two, you go on the Young Avengers, and then they're taking Miles Morales out of the Spider-Man team, putting him into the Young Avengers team, and then they're taking, or they're adding in Squirrel to this game. So now they have a 4-member team here of the Young Avengers, and Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, and America Chavez are going to get reworked a little bit so that way they synergize with the Young Avengers. So first off, I want to talk about this team. I'm not a huge fan of it, simply because of the fact it feels like a half-baked team. You know, it's not a full team, and these 4 characters don't really do a lot together in the universe. In my mind, America Chavez was destined to go on an Ultimates team with Captain Marvel. This was sort of a pretty big team. They had Blue Marvel, Black Panther, America Chavez, Captain Marvel, and I forget what her name was, but this was a 5-member team, and they were really big in the comics. They had an update for Marvel Future Fight. This is really what I imagine Captain Marvel eventually going on, because she's the leader of this team, and Blue Marvel, they're very strong characters. Now Black Panther probably wouldn't end up going on this team because again, he's the Wakandans. Anti-Man is a big villain. They thought they could have added Anti-Man as a 5th member instead of Black Panther, but I'd always be happy if Black Panther got the trait and he could go on the team. I'm always a fan of characters getting more traits than they necessarily need, but anyways, so this is the team I envision, but for them taking America Chavez off of that and putting it on Young Avengers, I'm like, man, are we maybe not going to do this? And then Young Avengers. So Young Avengers, technically America Chavez is on it sometimes. You know, there's American Chavez right there. But in my mind, the Young Avengers team is really all about characters like Kate Bishop, the Hawkeye, Wiccan, Hulkling. These characters are really the big Young Avengers to me. I just don't really. Songbird, she came in the Marvel Future Fight update for the Young Avengers. Songbird I sort of view as a Young Avenger. Again, I don't know. Like, this isn't, when I think Young Avengers, it's not really Miles Morales, Squirrel, and Kamala Khan and America Chavez. You know, that's not really how I envision it. And then there's this final team, the Champions, which this is where Kamala Khan actually goes, and Miles Morales is on this team routinely. But the rest of the characters that you saw were not on this team. Squirrel and all them, they're not usually on this team. Instead, there's characters like Amadeus Cho, Ironheart, one of the Wasps are on the team. There's a young Nova on this team. So a lot of really awesome characters that are on this team that just aren't you know, on it right now. Like, instead they're making like a mishmash of, like, I'd say mostly Ultimates they're not really thinking about right now. That's just something I would have wanted to see, but right now they're taking Young Avengers and the Champions and they're sort of mashing them together into this sort of team that doesn't really, it's not really either of those. And by doing so, they've also destroyed the Brawlers team, which I was a big fan of because I like that little creative bucket where you could catch all these characters in. And then they're also messing up the Spider-Verse team because Miles Morales now has a team he sort of has to go on. So I'm just not a huge fan of them taking these creative teams we had with Brawlers, and then now we have to all be like robots, like run the 5 Young Avengers characters, but there's only 4 of them. So, you know, I'm not a fan of breaking up the team for not even making a full 4-member Young Avengers team. So I don't really, you know, I don't really know how I feel about that. I just, man, especially when there's characters like Nova, Amadeus Cho. I like the young Wasp. There's so many really cool characters for our champions team. Same thing for Wiccan and Hulkling are so cool. You are awesome, and I really want a real Young Avengers and a real champions team. It just feels like we're sort of getting the lame parts of all these teams put together onto a Young Avengers team. So you know, it's whatever. But you know, I still like new characters, so I'm not gonna. There's just my little comic fan rant. Anyways, to talk about her kit, really cool stuff in here. She's a support character. Her basic attack the primary target, and then attack the, and I think this is also, she does both of these. She'll attack the primary target and then attack the enemy with the most speed bar for damage and apply offense down. This is really nice, supportive. It's kind of like something like Yo-Yo, but it's only on one enemy and it's on her basic attack. So this is pretty cool, actually. Really interesting support skill. Again, sort of supporting by hurting the enemy team. And their special, Eat Nuts. She'll heal the Young Avenger allies that are low health for a percentage of this character's max health. Heal all allies for an additional percent of this character's max health. And then clear all negative effects and call the ally with the highest damage to assist. So this is really good, mostly because of its low energy cost and the fact that it's healing for percentage. Always very great to heal for percentage as opposed to flat number, because flat numbers do not scale well. And then clearing negative effects is also really great, because clearing all negative effects doesn't happen frequently with a lot of characters, especially on not such a low cooldown. So this is going to be really good. And what's nice is it doesn't say this is specific to Young Avengers, except for this first part of the healing. The clearing negative effects does not seem to be specific to them. So this is nice right here. And then our ultimate Squirrel Army. So I bet the animation is going to be pretty awesome on Squirrel Girl. But she'll attack all enemies for damage and apply bleed and offense down. So, you know, that's really great. Working more with the offense downs against supporting by hurting the enemy team. Her passive is what's also really interesting. When a Young Avenger ally drops below a certain percentage of their health, she'll apply defense up and fill her speed bar. Again, we got to see what if it drops below 10% and then Squirrel goes like, I gotta go. You know, then it fills her speed bar, so then she can heal. At that point, defense up isn't going to do that much for you. But if it drops below 50% health and gives defense up, maybe that's something. So we really got to see what percentage they give defense up at. And then what's also really cool is gain drain, and Young Avenger allies gain drain. And who are other people in this game that have drain? Drax. They could be as good as Drax. Just kidding. Symbiotes have drain. So, and you know, the symbiotes are kind of nuts in the pun intended right here. They're kind of nuts in raids. So another team with drain, they could be a really good raid team. That is what we could be looking at right now, with this healing. I don't know. There's certainly some potential for raiding here. Miss Marvel has some big AoEs. American Chavez, not so much. Miles Morales isn't bad. I've always thought Miles Morales wasn't that great of a character in the game. I really like Miles Morales as a character. He's one of my favorite characters, but he just hasn't been that great in this game. So they're actually going to need a little bit of a tune-up if they're going to be fighting in Ultimus. Like, even I can't even really view them in the current raids. I'm doing like Ultimus difficulty 4. So we'll have to see how this shakes out. But I could see this being a raid team, especially with the drain. A lot of sustainability there. I think that is kind of cool. Sort of the Young Avengers, you know, they're sort of young. They sort of like a second win, like they can keep fighting because they're younger. So that's sort of a little bit of theming there in my mind. So I kind of like that. And this also, I was watching Mobile Gamer's video, and he actually noticed this right here: assemble a team with a limited friendship trait to recruit Squirrel Girl. Nothing crazy. The dangerous, but they're investigating a mystery with a new faculty member teaching classes at Empire State University. So that is Dr. Octopus they're referring to. So Dr. Octopus legendary event's probably going to come. So this is going to happen in July, the current month we're in. Squirrel Girl, Emma Frost, Beast. Next month, it sounds like the Doc Ock legendary event might be coming. And they said new faculty members. Another one I think of immediately is Lizard. Lizard is a professor. I don't know if I think he's a high school professor, not a college professor. But, you know, they could always stretch. I mean, they stretch the lore. They're really stretching the lore right now. I think they could definitely stretch push the lore as to where Lizard works. But a Lizard, if somebody else that comes to mind, he's usually a teacher, and then he drinks a little bit too much of the lizard juice, and then he goes lizard mode on everyone. So we have to see if they're all going to be like sort of new Spider-Man villains. But again, we're going to run into the problem. Right now we have 5 Spider-Man villains. So if you only add in Lizard and Doc Ock, then you have 7. So what do you do with that? What teams do you make? So I don't know. Maybe it'll be like we might get a whole bunch of new Spider-Man villains next month. That could be kind of exciting. That's my theory right now. We're going to get a bunch of Spider-Man villains. Lizard and Doc Ock will be at least 2 of them. So yeah, so that's everything. I'm excited for the new characters. I'm just kind of bummed that Squirrel Girl really messed up a lot of the big teams, well, not big teams in the game, but a lot of teams in this game, to sort of form this team that doesn't really fit the lore, especially when all these characters had better teams to go on. I think this is something that'll probably be good in 4 months from now. Like originally when the Spider-Verse characters came out, it was Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Green Goblin, Venom, and Carnage. They went on a team together. And that didn't make any sense, but we're like, whatever, it was a Spider-Verse team. But eventually they split that off into the Sinister Six team and a Spider-Man team, and now they're splitting that Spider-Man team up into like the symbiotes and the Spider-Man. So it did get split up even more. I think this is something that down the road they will probably do a Ultimates team, and they'll do Captain Marvel, America Chavez, Add in Blue Marvel, and all of them. They'll go on a team, and I think eventually this team right here will be split up into the Young Avengers and the Champions. You know, I think eventually they'll add Amadeus Cho and all of them, and I think they'll do a Champions team. I think eventually then they'll add Wiccan and Kate Bishop and Hulkling, and they'll do a Young Avengers team. So I feel this is very temporary. I'm just not a huge fan of them breaking up teams that exist right now for a temporary team. So you know, we'll have to see if this works out. And you know, at the end of the day, what do I really know, because I am only an 18-year-old. I hope everyone can have a happy and healthy day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice 4th of July, everyone, if you're in America. Signing off.